Now we're going to look at what we do with monetary policy anytime we have a recession. So anytime there's a recession, we want aggregate demand to increase. So I'm going to draw this in green, thinking expansionary, make the economy go. So our policy is going to be expansionary, and the tools of the Federal Reserve Bank are that they can buy bonds, which makes big bucks. We can lower the reserve ratio. They can lower the discount rate. Or if you're looking at that as well, you can also lower the Fed funds rate. Anything that is going to target low interest rates is their goal. So if we take the reserve ratio and lower it, that's going to make our excess reserves increase. Banks can loan out more, multiple deposit expansion will happen. The money supply can be increased, and that as well would lower interest rates because the money market graph has nominal interest rate on it. So I know at low interest rates and bond price are inversely related. So the more I pay for a bond, the lower interest it will pay, but it is going to be a more secure bond, and that would be more likely to pay us back. So anytime we have more money circulating, what we're going to get is a lower real interest rate. Now, at a lower real interest rate, consumption and investment are allowed to increase. I know at lower interest rates, K is for capital, and that capital formation can allow the PPC to shift outward, long run supply to increase. Both those increasing would actually be rightward shifts, so we know that. So we'll call that an up arrow. Now, in the foreign exchange market, we know at low interest rates, people aren't going to want to put their money into our bank accounts to earn interest. So the demand for currency would actually decrease. And I put the American dollar just because it's what we're working on, or where the market we're in. Now, if there's a lower demand for the dollar, remember E is the exchange rate. So if that exchange rate is going to end up decreasing, okay? If it's decreasing, remember that's going to make us less. That'll make our currency weaker, our exports would increase because our goods and services are cheaper, and that puts us in a trade surplus. So that's what that WES is right there, WES. We know that. Now, what would that do for net exports? If we look at our X minus M as our formula for net exports, then over here, if the exchange rate is down, our exports are actually going to increase. So that's a positive for us. So our net exports will actually end up going up. Now, aggregate demand is going to go up as a result of consumption and investment. Remember, those are components of SIG-X, or parts of aggregate demand, or the expenditure model for calculating GDP. So with all that, I know that GDP is going to go up because aggregate demand went up. Unfortunately, that's going to cause price level to go up. So that is our problem. We get good GDP, we get unemployment to decrease in the short run, and that decreasing is actually part of our way we want to get rid of the recession. Now, expected inflation, that is what people expect is going to happen. So if we know there's a policy going on that's going to expand the economy, we know, or we can expect, inflation to go up as well. Because as we burn resources and use things, they get more expensive. So every time GDP is going up, that means we're going to be working and using up resources and causing scarcity. So we know we can expect inflation to go up with some announcement of a policy by the Federal Reserve Bank. So unemployment in the long run, what's going to happen there is it's going to return to the natural rate. Remember, that's at the Phillips curve. So unemployment in the long run is going to remain at the natural rate. Remember, that natural rate is where you have frictional plus structural unemployment. So it just means we won't have any cyclical. So we get rid of our cyclical unemployment when aggregate demand gets us back to that full employment level. So these nominal and real interest rates in the long run are actually just going to remain neutral. They're not going to do anything because they're not affected by the expected inflation. We already know those things are going to happen. So our side effect, unfortunately, is going to be inflation anytime we have an expansionary monetary policy.